All right. Well, good morning. So today for Mastermind, I wanted to talk about something that I'm working on personally right now and thought, it might be helpful to all of you too. We talked about it a little bit, but not as really a full mastermind session, at least recently. So client appreciation strategies. So how are you attacking, your past clients, but also your sphere, to try and make sure that you're the first person on their mind. Now we've talked about it from kind of a social media platform, right? Or a farming platform, kind of things like that. We've touched on those in recent sessions. But this is like getting face to face, maybe with groups at a time, and kind of how you're approaching that. So let's talk about kind of why client appreciation matters. Why does it matter?
I had to join a meeting.
Hey, Connor. So you helped them close. That's great. Now what? Thanks for the review. Call me if you've got a friend who needs help. See you never. I mean, tell me.
You just need to stay front of mind so that they continue to use you and refer their people to you. That's one thing that I need to really start, I don't know, doing a lot more of. You can't always just assume that your past clients are going to reach back out to you. What if the next door neighbor that moves in is a real estate agent and they become really good friends? Or what if a family member gets newly licensed and they want to give them their business? There's a million reasons why, or they had a shitty experience that they didn't tell you about for whatever reason. I mean, we've all been in that situation where, you look at a listing online and you're like, well, that sucks. I helped them
Yeah.
sell that house.
Yeah.
So
That
what are
feels
you
great, right?
yeah, yeah, really. What are you doing to stay front of mind? I think it's just about engaging, staying, in communication outside of real estate. I got a referral yesterday from a past client whose mom is coming, um, who's coming this way. So I've got an appointment with her next weekend. But, I haven't talked to her in a minute, but I'm I've had a good relationship with them from the beginning, so that was the kind of people that can just call me out of the blue and it's cool, and I know that they're going to stay loyal. But there's nothing stopping people from not using you, um, moving forward. So it's just about, especially now, the people that don't have lead flow, where's the next deal going to come from? And everybody's in a different place in their business, and so it's as much as you want to invest or not invest. It doesn't always have to be monetary, I don't think. You
Right.
know,
It's good.
being friends with them on Facebook, sending them text messages when events happen. I have past clients that I'm like, hey, come get a beer with me. I'm in town. Are you in town? Whatever. Just keeping that relationship going. Especially because, I mean, you can swing a dead cat and there's a real estate agent, right? So, just making sure that those people know that you're the first ones to call.
Right. So who likes calling internet leads? Like who's prospecting is like, yeah, this is what I live for.
Sucks ass.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
it's not the most fun thing, right? What is fun? When a past client calls you and says, hey,
Yeah.
Connor's moving into town.
Yeah.
Who'd rather that happen than have to call, 10 leads?
Yeah. I was driving to the grocery store yesterday and she called and I was like, yep, let's go.
All of us want to do that. So that's really the goal behind this, right? Your best source of leads should be your past clients if you cultivate them the right way and you stay in touch with them. So, that's the whole point behind showing appreciation. Somebody share, when was the last time a client surprised you with a thank you? I know some of you have had some really good experiences with folks sending you
Yeah.
stuff, or so give us a good example about that.
My beach house lead that I just got, or that I just closed, I got a card in the mail from her. Um, Hang on.
Anybody else have one while she's handling her thing?
No, I got you. It was just a card. It says how beautiful a day can be when kindness touches it. Janine, wow, where does the time go and how is it already May? There are no words to adequately enough to thank you for all of the support and expertise you provided with getting my house sold. Phew, I never knew I had so much stuff. You made the process easy and you were always accessible, even on vacation. The final touch was the beautiful watercolor of the house. It was perfect. You were so thoughtful and have done had it done as you know how special the house was to me and my entire family. Thank you. And as soon as school gets out, we'll make a dinner date and drink to our success. Sincerely, thank you, friend. So thankful for your kindness, so touched by your thoughtfulness, so lucky to know someone as wonderful as you. Much love, Linda. So this is a girl, that's a lady, that was my biggest deal ever. Her daughter and I went to nursing school together. They actually have a family member who's an agent with Caldwell in Wilmington, and she totally could have used her, you know?
Yeah,
So that's super sweet. And then who knows what's going to come from that?
that's exactly right. That's how it's done. That's the goal, right? That's what what we want to happen.
Yeah.
So
So that was a nice surprise.
yeah. So think about this, you've got different types of clients, so you want to touch them differently, right?
Yeah.
Try not to be one size fits all. Like what's going to resonate most with different people. Tailor your efforts to, their lifestyle, their values, their interests, things that they like. So do you adjust maybe your closing gift or your follow-up for a first-time buyer
Absolutely.
versus an
Yes,
investor?
100%, Steve.
All right, so let's talk about that.
I mean, we're spending a lot of time with these people, right? When we're out helping them shop. So I try to, pick up on
Yes.
little things that just, if nothing else, show them that I was listening to them and,
Yes.
care about them as a person. My most recent buyer, make a long story short, he sold his car to buy his house,
Oh shit.
basically, right? He had a Hellcat, if anybody knows what that is. So like
Uh,
expensive, car, and he was like, I want a house, and that comes first. So he sold his car, got rid of his $800 $900 a month car payment to buy a car,
Jesus.
to buy the house. So for his closing, when we pulled up to the new house, I handed him and I gave him like a little model of a Hellcat, and I said, "I know you're missing it, so you can park this in the garage for now
That's
until we set it
hilarious.
up." And he loved it. He thought it was great. So just to again show that I was paying attention and listened to him, and
Yeah,
I love that, Steve. That's fantastic.
that's great.
Anybody else have something they want to share?
I had some clients that I was friends with them on Facebook, and they had created their own like registry on Amazon for what they wanted for their house. So I was like, well, let me get them what they want, and so that was an easy one. So I could just go online and plus, I got them a couple other things, but that was the first time I'd ever had anybody do that. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think that Steve
talk
was
about
really,
making it easy. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think Steve is great, spot on. Like, do they like to drink beer? Are they not drinkers? Do they do they have kids? Do they what pick up on tiny little cues that you might have learned along the way?
100%. If somebody likes bourbon, get them a little bottle of bourbon.
Yeah,
I like to
exactly.
get my clients champagne because I like to make it a
Same.
celebration, right? And I'm
Yep.
like, here, you guys, I hope that you guys can enjoy celebrating together in your house or whatever, or with your friends.
Yep.
Clients with kids. I had a client one time, kid had a huge Lego collection. I got him a Lego along with their,
Yeah.
their gift that I gave them. Just, hey, the kids want to celebrate too, and kids
Yeah.
love gifts. And,
Yep.
so unless it's like a drum set or something really loud, parents are probably really going to love it if you get their kid a gift too, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes them part of the, help them experience it as well. So, I think it's fun to try to get to know your folks and really important to do that. And, when you're spending a lot of time looking at houses with them and talking about what's important to them as far as how they live, it should kind of give you some insight on how to do that, right? So, make sure you're picking up, make sure you're asking questions, make sure you're trying to be thoughtful. One thing that I've done in the past is I thought I had it in here somewhere. Oh, it's over on my I don't know if you can see it on my bookshelf over there on the top. It's the North Carolina toast. And I'd like to get a framed copy of that and give it to clients who are moving from out of state, just to say, hey, kind of welcome to North Carolina. This is the toast of North Carolina. So there
What's
are
the North Carolina toast?
I've
Yeah,
never heard of
I'm
that.
not familiar with that.
never heard of it.
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay, I'll read it just to make sure I don't get anything wrong. So the toast is, here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the wheat grows strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home the old North State. Cheers.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never heard of that. Why didn't I know that?
I don't
So,
know.
and I just thought that's a cool thing to do to people who are coming from out of state, just to kind of make them feel like, hey, this is my home now, and to help them acclimate. So, different things for different people, but just kind of trying to be thoughtful about it and meaningful, and how it's gonna, resonate with them. So I would say, think about, um, different types of clients you have, and maybe different things that you think are going to relate to maybe people at different parts of their life, or whether they're a first time home buyer, or why they're buying it, right? I mean, if you've got an investor, that's different. That's a different experience, a different
Yeah.
feeling than a first time home buyer, right? So you want to kind of adjust that accordingly.
Or some people that you're like, I ain't buying you shit.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it's okay, yeah, I gave you a $500 credit or whatever, or something like that. Maybe not
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
something. Or I mean, for my past clients who are sellers, well, my gift is reducing your
Commission. Yeah.
commission.
100.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and
So,
that's a question I did want to ask. Like, um, for sellers, I usually don't really do a quote gift. Now, if I have sellers that, let's say they've been in their house for 30 years, or they built the house from ground up, or like I will get a watercoloring painting done from this girl that I use. She's in Virginia, and she um just has it directly shipped to them. But for the most part, I think I've only done that maybe like 5 times, because how how houses mean different things to different people, and so I don't know. I typically don't really do a seller closing gift, because like you said, if I've taken a haircut on the commission side, then there you go, you know.
I mean, I think that's appropriate, and you'll do it as what makes sense.
I mean, do
Another
you guys do closing gifts for all your sellers like you do your buyers?
No, I don't. I don't do
Okay.
it the same way.
Okay.
Another thing to think about is, high impact versus low cost. Just because you spend a lot doesn't mean it's going to be impactful.
That's
And just
true.
because you don't doesn't mean it won't be impactful. Right. So think about that.
Yeah.
I had a friend over to the house who's on the alumni board a couple of weeks ago, the night before the board meeting, and he lives in Atlanta. And last week I got a handwritten note in the mail. And I left it for Amanda because I thought it was from one of her coworkers, because she's got people that live in Georgia. And when I opened it, and I was like, you forget how meaningful something like that is. I mean, maybe give them a gift at closing, but maybe you mail them a note afterward, just to say,
Yeah.
hey, it's
Thank
been a
you.
couple of weeks. Hope you're feeling settled. Just wanted to let you know that I really did appreciate having the opportunity to help you,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I tell my folks now, hey, keep an eye on your email, because I like to do client events throughout the year. I hope you'll be able to attend,
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Well, and I've been following this person, selling the suburbs on Insta and all the things. She has so many like great physical things that you can purchase and buy, and all the frills. But for me, like some of it's just a waste of money,
Yeah.
putting something on a water bottle. I don't know, just like I hate knickknacks. I hate stuff that's going to get thrown away. But she does have good things like electronic things that I'm starting to use a little bit. But just being conscious, like the whole Christmas thing I did last year, probably, it wasn't a waste. That's probably a bad example. But if I kept doing stuff, it will be fine. But at what expense? That's my thing. It's like if I'm going to do a campaign or something, I don't want to spend a ton of money on, I don't know, I'm trying to figure that out is where I'm
That's
at right
yeah, that's the whole thing. How can I get creative, be effective, and not break the bank?
And it doesn't have to be an actual gift that they take home.
Yeah.
Brandon's a great example of this. He likes to take his folks to lunch or to have a drink at the Turkey Lounge at Angus Barn. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do that anywhere. I think that's great, but my ass ain't driving to Angus Barn because it's too far away and I don't want to go that far. But
I did it.
there's a lot of places to go that you can do that could be
Yeah.
really nice. And it doesn't have to be really nice. It could just be somewhere fun. Hey, it's summer. Let's go sit outside and have a drink and say cheers and celebrate.
Yeah, exactly.
So, handwritten cards, branded like local gifts, gift cards to restaurants, especially if it's for someone from out of town to help them. Hey, this is one of my favorite spots.
Hmm.
Me and my family love to go here. If you haven't been yet, I hope you guys can go check it out. Maybe it'll be one of your favorite spots too. We can see you there sometime, something like that. Or if it's somebody who's been in town forever and you know that they love the crab shack or whatever, well, hell, don't reinvent the wheel. Give them something they're going to appreciate because they're going to be there anyways, right?
Yeah, and if it's a family member, like if it's a person that was referred to me from a past client, I'll just be like, "Hey, where do they like to eat? Tell me," you know? And
Yep.
I will say from my sellers, if I know if they're purchasing a house in another state, what I have done is reached out to that listing, to their agent there and be like, "Hey, give me a good restaurant that I can get them a gift card to that they like that's
Oh, that's yeah.
local." And so I've done that a lot where I've emailed like a gift card to a
Yep.
restaurant to
Yep.
the new place where they're going.
I've done that too, also for referrals.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
For, hey, my past client sent me their cousin who moved into town. I asked the cousin, hey, what's something you think they would really like so I could say thank you, and
Yeah.
vice versa. Then I asked the referrer,
Right.
what their cousin would like too. So
Right.
it ended up being a gift certificate all at the same place. And I was like, well, y'all don't have to use these at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that much. But hey, it is what it is.
I would also say on the line of on that same note, we were talking gift cards, even just like a even 10, I usually do like a $10, I do a handwritten card and then like a $10 Starbucks gift card to every agent on the other side of my deal. Whether it's mostly if I'm the listing agent, I do it for the buyer's agent because they brought me the buyer. And I think that really, and they'll always text me, "Hey, thank you so much for the card, blah, blah, blah." So I think it's really good to do that appreciation for the brokers as well because they work their ass off to get the deal done with you.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, that's fine.
so I think that if you're a listing agent, it's important to say appreciation to the buyer's agent as well. Don't forget about them.
At the very least, always say thank you.
Correct.
I thanked an agent yesterday and she was not easy to work with, but I told her thanks for being easy to work with.
Because you might come up again.
Right, exactly. So let's talk a little bit more experiences over things. And now we're maybe moving into, client appreciation ongoing versus just a thing, a closing gift or something like that. So people remember how you make them feel, right? Not necessarily what you gave them. So what are some examples of, experiences that you can do? Kind of a list is private movie nights. I've
Yeah.
seen more lenders do this. I know Ben has done it, but agents could do it as well. Rent out a theater for a showing.
Yeah,
Right.
my cousin up north, we were literally when we were at the brewery, we were talking about client because that's where we had a drink. That's where she does her client events there. And I was just asking her, I was like, well, I was like, I don't have a spot like this where I live. It doesn't exist. Like, what are other ideas that your people do? She said, well, I've seen agents and she literally said that one agent around there rented out a movie theater for, I guess, a new movie that had just come out a
Yep.
while back and like invited her clients and their kids and whatnot.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one way to do it. You could do putt. You could
Yeah.
do bowling alley. You could
Yeah.
do, I know an agent up here and Brandon has done this before, as well. Like you call Starbucks and you say, hey, anybody who gives you my name, I've got $500. So, spend the first $500. or whatever, something like that, just as a way. And then you tell your clients, hey, coffee on me at the Hillsborough Street, Starbucks or Cup of Joe or anything, right? Just stop by. That's another way to do it. And you can be there and say hello when they pop in or whatever, or not, but just again, a little way to say appreciation. Holiday events. I did one last year. I think it went off really well. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't just invite clients. I invited neighbors. I invited my sphere too. And it was just a great way, to mingle, and people will talk to each other too. So you don't have to feel like you have to stand there and talk to everyone all night. And I thought it went over really great. Game or concert tickets,
Mm.
you could do like Durham Bulls game, buy a block of tickets for your clients. Hey, first 50 people to RSVP or whatever. I mean, stuff like that doesn't have to be super expensive when you buy in blocks like that. So, and then you can be there and you can have beers and hot dogs and say hey and just catch up with folks, etc. Strawberry picking, which Brandon has done too. And he said he had like 30 people or 30 engagements.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
It wasn't expensive at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I
really
mean, shit, we could do like, since we're such a small area, ocean air strawberry picking. And we can
yeah,
do,
you could do it as a group. You
yeah,
don't have to do it individually.
exactly.
And everybody just find out how many of their people are
Yeah.
coming and let the people know, blah, blah, blah. We've done this before. You can do it again. Pie pickup at Thanksgiving or pie delivery, which gets more difficult depending on how big your past client base is. But pie pickup is a good option too.
Yeah,
A lot of
Rachel
people.
did that. She said it was just like a drive-through. Like they come
Yep.
in, and she said if they want to, she's like, it was really, really shitty one year because it just poured down rain and some people didn't even come get their pies, so it was a waste of money. But she said that she had just like a couple hors d'oeuvres there. If people stayed like 10 minutes and then they grabbed their pie and left. And so there's like least amount of pressure to like talk to every single person that comes through or whatnot.
There's a firm that's in the Gillespie group, and they did
Oh yeah.
they've done the coffee shop, they did it at Spill, and then they've done it at like a new ice cream place where they're just there and then
Oh, yeah,
they
that's a good
invite their
idea.
clients to like come by, either grab a cup of coffee or grab an ice cream, and then, just like a client appreciation that way.
Ooh, I could do Hal and Cow. It's like 2 minutes from my house. Come by for a scoop.
There you go.
Good idea. Okay. I tend to look for things convenient also.
Fair.
I'm not going to be very apologetic about that, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things that are close by, and do that, or at least know maybe where the majority of your clients are going to be.
I
if you
mean, what do? You just get you just buy like a raffle thing, give a ticket to everybody that comes. When they go check out, tell the person if somebody has a red ticket, it's on my tab.
yeah, basically, or
Yeah.
just ask them how to do it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Think about it this way: if you were one of your own clients, what kind of experience would make you feel appreciated?
Yeah.
Janine, a fun one would be kind of like Topsail Brewing, and then, we could do it as like a group and then bring some food and,
Place is so fucking packed all the time, though.
well, you would have to do it on like a
On
weeknight.
a random day. Yeah. But no, yeah, I think that's good. Or just like order a food truck or something, you know?
Yeah.
Food
Nate,
truck's a
how'd your
good
open
idea.
go yesterday?
I had 7 agents come through. They were mostly all Caldwell agents. It was good. A couple people said it smelled like dogs. Another person said that consider adding steps to the back because it's a big slope. So my people were like, okay, we're getting the carpets cleaned and we're getting some quotes. What's this one? So yeah, my people were very responsive. It was good. I mean, it wasn't like a
It
constant.
wasn't a terrible dog smell, but it was just slight.
It was good. It was worth doing.
Good.
Let's see. Staying top of mind without being salesy.
Yeah.
Appreciation is a long game. It's not a short game. It's not just like a one-off. You got to stay in touch. You got to provide some value. and not just sales language, right? So think about quarterly check-ins. That's what I do with this client giant thing, where it's basically sending a little gift to my clients quarterly. Home anniversaries, that's always a good idea. I rely really heavily on my social media for that, because I typically post around the time that they close. So it pops up in my memory, and I love to like just screenshot that and send it to them and say, hey, happy anniversary. Can you believe it's been 1 year? Or can you believe it's been 10 years? You know, stuff like that. It's fun to do. You know, holiday greetings, surprise gifts. I have the majority of my past clients on my Christmas card list. It's huge, but it's just another way to say hey every year. And I really like to do that, because I like to get Christmas cards. I like to send Christmas cards, and we try to have fun with it a little bit. And I think it's going to stand out even more now that fewer people are doing it, kind of like handwritten notes, you know, because people are just getting away from it. What's one appreciation touch point that you could automate right now?
Emails.
Okay. Anybody else? I did for the first time this year after this past Christmas. We typically use Shutterfly for our cards. So I put my entire database into Shutterfly, so I can just order everything next year, and I won't have to print any labels or seal any envelopes or put any stamps on
Oh
envelopes.
my
It's
God,
just
this is the first year we didn't send a Christmas card.
it's just all going to be automated next year, hopefully. So
So you just put their information in there and Shutterfly, like labels.
Yep. You basically just, you know, you build, it's like a contact list, just like you have in your phone book. And I mean, you could, and I'm sure different card companies do it. There are a lot of different ones that do it. Like I use Punchbowl for the invite for our Christmas party and for our pool party. That actually costs, but I'll just pay for it for the month that I use it and then turn it off. But kind of the same thing. You can just export your contact list. You can export your closed clients from Sisu and then just upload the file in there. You might have to match the files, the columns or whatever, but you can do that pretty easily. It's not that difficult. And then you just add to it every year, as you know, or per closing or whatever.
I've started sending out like a weekly check this property out, and I've gotten a lot of responses. Even the thing I did a couple of days ago on my social media with like, here's information on my neighborhood, reach out if you want information on yours. It wasn't automated, but I used Chat GPT, and it took me about 10 minutes. And I had somebody reach out about her neighbor's house that hadn't been selling, but it was a connection. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing that. Just pick a neighborhood every other, you know, or every week, and just keep, I don't know, I need to be more consistent, I think. I have great ideas, and then I just like,
Yeah. I mean, and that's important too, but I mean, realizing that is part of the first step. Yeah, it's great to have cool ideas, but execution is where it really matters. And then consistency further beyond that.
yeah.
I literally just got an email from an agent, and it's not even giving anything away, but it's a pet adoption for next weekend that they've emailed to everybody. And even though you're not inviting them to like an event to give something away, they've invited and sent out an invitation to an event for a charity, and now they're back in their email. And if your client comes, then you're touching base with them.
Yeah. Well, I would challenge all of you to kind of think about this. What's an appreciation strategy that you can implement this month? What's a past client that you could surprise this week? And what's one thing you think you can stop doing that just feels generic or not personal, that's not going to resonate with folks? Try to make it as personal as you can. And I think it will go a lot further and feel a lot more meaningful to folks. Anything else? Any other thoughts? Josh, you've been quiet. You got any ideas?
No, no. I mean, I know one of my clients just had a grandbaby, so I sent the grandbaby some stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. It doesn't always have to be for the client themselves, right? They appreciate that stuff, kind of like the
Baby
play
books that she could read to the baby and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a thing for both of them.
to do together. Yeah, that's really great too. And I mean, you can send people things for experiences, right? Send them, maybe they like escape rooms. Well, send them a gift card for an escape room. Stuff like that can be fun to do.
How would you handle someone that doesn't really do anything and doesn't drink?
Yeah.
I don't really know. Yeah.
Visa gift card, bottle of
Yeah. Amazon gift card.
Amazon gift card. Yep.
If you know
Gift
they're
card
planning on
route.
doing work to their house, maybe a Lowe's gift card.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I know
Even
she's
if
into
they
guns,
don't
but I'm not
drink-
buying her a gun.
Oh,
What'd
even
you
if they
say?
don't drink, I give my people like sparkling apple cider instead of
Oh.
champagne.
That they can still pop and celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Or give to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or Janine and I have done engraved cutting boards with their name on
I
it.
always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've given it.
Or if they're a new client and they've or a first time home buyer, I've gone to Lowe's and gotten like a small like cobalt like starter tool bag
Yeah.
because most of them don't have
Oh yeah,
Cool.
that's a nice idea. I really like that. I like that, Connor. That's cool.
That's a good
that
one.
was Anthony's idea. I can't take credit.
Nice. Okay. Well, no other thoughts then. I would just say, keep this in mind, be thankful of, or thoughtful about it, make you some notes, etc. And show appreciation. So they send you their friends. And then you got a lot less internet leads you'll have to call. But if you're on internet leads, still call the leads. And make sure you're following up with people, regardless of your lead flow status. I mean, this is a relationship game, right? And a relationship is two ways. So make sure you're not just waiting to hear from people that you're reaching out to. And another thing is, if somebody sends you a referral, send them a thank you gift for the referral, not for the closing, not after you get them under agency, not after you get them under contract. Send them a thank you for making the personal connection.
Yep.
April, I think you're trying to say something, but you might have been muted. So
I would like to, I guess, another mastermind. I really would like to pick everybody's brain on, how they use their CRM, what they're sending, how to use the drips. I just feel like I keep doing the same thing and getting, the same results, which is, a few here and there, but I think everybody has their own system and their own way of using it. So I would be interested in hearing how everybody, and a lot of like you and Janine and Steve are trying to connect with people moving forward.
I think we can absolutely do that. So thanks for the idea. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording real quick, but then a quick thing I want to talk about. So see you guys on the mastermind next time, I guess. If I can find out how to stop it. Okay, there we go.